All right, everyone, welcome to the Sunday, October 23rd, 2022. It's the October, I screwed that up myself. It's the October 23rd, 2022 MMAOB Daily Podcast. That's what I was trying to say. I'm your host, always Adam Martin, Big Marcel. I think it's because it's a Sunday. I'm all screwed up here, Marcel. I'm tongue-tied here, my friend. We obviously don't do the podcast on Sundays, guys. We switched it to a Monday show. However, the next 3 weeks, I got some stuff going on. Tomorrow, I'm going to a concert. I'm seeing the Smashing Pumpkins and Jane's Addiction. So it's going to be an amazing concert, Marcel. I think you know Smashing Pumpkins. I'm sure you've heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a good band. And then next week, Halloween. It's my daughter's second. We got her a little costume, Marcel, so we got to take her out for Halloween. And then third, going on vacation, right? So it's going to be a little different next couple of weeks, guys. So bear with us. But I appreciate you guys joining us. We got Glenn, one of our favorites. He's in the chat. How's it going, Glenn? Glad to have you here, my friend. Marcel, man, how's it going? I haven't seen you since, Monday, I guess? So it's been a week almost. How's it going?
All good, man. All good. A lot of big card this weekend, right? So early card.
Yep.
I know everybody's love those early cards. I don't really do, but early card and was something to talk about, right?
I actually kind of like the early cards, to be honest with you. Although I maybe 10 a.m. is a little too early for us, and for you it would be 4 p.m. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that's a little too early, but I prefer the earlier ones than like staying up until 2 or 3 in the morning. Personally, it's just different now. Like when I was a single guy, Marcel, like it didn't really matter, you know. But when you got like a young kid that's crying all the time, like it's a lot different. So I kind of prefer getting out of the way so I could sleep a little better tonight. Like I slept pretty good last night, so. I have to say that. I did. I don't know if Anita did. I mean, she definitely got up a few times, and I'm like, I'm going to bed. So let's get some more guys in the chat. We got comments here from SRO. What's going on? Antoine here. What's going on, Antoine? Talk about the card in a second, my friend. 8 Loco, what's up? Another one of our favorites. All you guys are our favorites. Antoine, what do you guys think about Gamrot Turner, Charles Rosterius? Both interesting fights for sure. We'll talk about Marcel. There's so much to talk about. I don't know why I can't hide this. Okay, there we go. There's so much to talk about. It was a crazy card. There's a lot going on, a lot to get on about, guys. So I say we just get into it right now. UFC 280. Marcel, let's start with the main card. We'll start with our picks first off. I mean, dude, it couldn't have started off any better. I got the first 6 right. I was like, holy shit, it's gonna be an amazing day. Like it's gonna be another perfect card. And then Muhammad wins, which I didn't see happening. And then obviously there were some upsets on the main card, which we didn't predict either. So just a crazy, crazy event. But let's start with the main event. I told you last week, Marcel, I was really having a hard time with this fight. I really was. Like, I felt like it was 50-50. And because it was 50-50, I just kind of had to go with the proven champion. Or I guess he wasn't the champion. You know what I mean? Like, the proven guy. Having said that, like you said last week, and you honestly called him, Marcel, I really was so close to changing, kind of, not really changing, but just kind of going with Islam. Because, like you said, styles make fights. And because of that wrestling, he was able to get into the ground anytime he wanted. But I'll tell you this, Marcel. Let's be honest. The fight didn't play out like how we thought, because did you expect Islam to drop Charles Oliveira? I didn't. Islam's never dropped anyone. I don't think he has. That was very surprising me. And then obviously got the choke right afterwards. That to me was the surprise of the night, the way he dropped him and then submitted him. I wasn't surprised he submitted him, Marcel. I thought he would work him on the ground a little bit. I thought ground and pound was a possibility. But I didn't expect him to catch that chin and then drop him and then finish him. So to me, like, I was waiting to see this for Islam, guys. I'm sure you guys probably feel the same way. I was waiting to see him beat an elite guy like this. And to not only beat him, Marcel, but to dominate him, because he honestly pretty much dominated the fight. It was very impressive. I'm happy for Islam. He's a great fighter. He's going to be a great champion, I believe, although he's got a really tough first defense against Volkanovski, apparently. We're going to talk about that in a second, which is insane, because I was at bowling this morning. I looked up at the scoreboard, and they had like the highlights on, and I noticed that Volkanovski, I believe, is 12-fight win streak, and second is 11 with Makhachev. So you have the two guys with the top 2 win streaks in the UFC going at each other, apparently, which is going to be amazing. Let's get into the fight itself. I want to hear your thoughts on it, Marcel. Nice pick. It was a great performance by Islam, and I know you expect him to win, but did you think he'd drop him and then finish him like that? Give me your thoughts.
That he would drop him? No, not really. I thought he would hit the ground and he would outwork him on the ground and submit him there. Islam is a nasty dude. He knocked him down, and he could have went for ground and pound, but you saw he wanted to get the submission win over the submission master. You know, you saw that, and he got it. Beautiful done. Well, I mean, yeah, what can you say? It was a perfect performance by Islam, you know, and what else to say? I think Charles is a great fighter. He was a great champion. But yeah, like you said, styles make fights, and it's the only fight I predicted right on the main card. So
Big card was
uh,
not easy. Did you
no,
pick TJ or Sterling? I can't remember.
I picked TJ, man.
Yeah,
But I would have never picked him if I knew about
the
about that
shoulder.
injury he apparently had. Um, yeah, I mean, what can you say? Well done by Makhachev. He's he can be in Khabib's footsteps, right? And yeah, beautiful. I mean, what else can you say? It was a perfect performance, I think. Dropped
Flawless.
him with a good punch, where Oliveira came in with a flying knee, which wasn't smart of his, I think, because that made him unstable, and Makhachev could land, and a good
Yeah.
submission win. I mean, the thing is, like, why I picked Makhachev first round submission. It was second round.
Yep, you did.
Why I picked him with a submission is like, Makhachev isn't afraid to go with Oliveira to the ground, and you saw the difference here in all three fights with Chandler, Gaethje, and Poirier.
Mm-hmm.
When they had him staggered or they dropped him, they didn't want to go with him to the ground, and Makhachev isn't afraid on the ground to go against Oliveira. So yeah, good submission, man, and actually kind of nasty, because he could have won it with ground and pound, I think, but he definitely wanted to win it with a submission. I had the feeling. So yeah, he did. I mean, well done, and
Yeah.
deserved performance of the night bonus, I guess. Right?
Yeah, that's the fourth time Oliveira's been finished by submission. It just hasn't happened in so long that I kind of figured he cleaned that part of his game up. But I mean, listen, the guy dropped him, he was hurt, and he got that arm triangle in so fast. And the way he went from half guard to side, I think it was side control where he finished the choke. That was really impressive. Like I said, Oliveira, I still think I think he's a Hall of Famer. Marcel, in my opinion, most submission wins in UFC history. This was a tough loss for him, though. And here's the thing: like, he's not old, but he's 33 now. So he's not like super young anymore either. He's getting up there a little bit. He's obviously got 43 fights. It's a lot of fights.
I think everybody under 34 is super young. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, I'm 34.
That's why I said it.
But he's been in the UFC since he's been 20
Yeah,
years
I know.
old.
He's,
And, that's a lot of
really
damage
old.
over the years. He took some more damage. He's actually been dropped in his last 3 fights. So, like you said, Marcel, he survived those fights against Poirier and Gaethje because those guys, they don't have the greatest ground games, right? But
Then Chandler also dropped him.
it says technically he didn't get dropped in that fight, but I remember him getting hurt in that fight too.
Yeah.
So, like, he gets dropped a lot. Anyways, for Makhachev, huge win. I agree with this comment too. No wonder, hey John, no wonder nobody wants to fight Islam. Shout out to Gabin and Javier for telling them they were the two about Islam. They were right. I mean, that guy's great. Not surprised at all. Islam had his whole camp in Abu Dhabi. People big influence there gave him like can be a big facility for him. When they said he spent $1 million on his training camp, I was like, oh shit, like this guy's going to be ready to go. Why do you guys think it's time next? Why do you guys think? I think he says, who do you think's next for Charles, and who do you favor in the main event 284? I don't know if that fight's official yet between Volkanovski and Makhachev, but it sounds like that's the plan. Yeah. And I'm fine with that fight. Like, I thought they would give it to Dariush, but Volkanovski obviously is the pound for pound number 1 fighter in the world. I don't have a problem with that fight. I mean, honestly, like, it's hard to doubt Islam after last night, but at the same time, Volkanovski is such a great fighter too. That's a hard fight to call. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about that one? Like, do you have a lean at all, or your microphone's on? Your mic's off. There you go.
Yeah, sorry, man. The cable for some reason. Yeah, I don't. I have to look into it, but it's difficult, I mean, Makhachev is big for lightweight, and Volkanovski's come from featherweight. I mean, I like it a lot, actually. It's a number 1 pound for pound guy against the champion in the division. I think Makhachev will also come in the pound for pound rankings on Monday. I like it a lot. I don't know yet where I'm going for. It's a home advantage from Volkanovski, but you don't know. It's Makhachev is a very good fighter. As we all saw. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one to call. I really honestly have no idea. I have to think about that one a lot more. I think it's very, very difficult to call. And then what's for Charles? I don't know either. Like, that's a hard one to call. Someone said Dariush, that would be fine.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that. He's fought pretty much everyone, right? Oh, I guess you could do Connor. You could. He's not the champ anymore, but it'd be a good fight. Probably don't see that fight though, because he's again not the champ anymore. But
Dana said that Connor is
6
not
months,
right? Yeah, so.
Yeah, but Oliveira's going to be out for a little bit. I think. I don't think he's going to be fighting, anytime soon. probably take a couple months off himself. Hope the Islam critics don't need to see him fight a top guy. I mean, we just saw him fight one, right? Islam's too big for Volk. Maybe, yeah, probably. I think it has to be Dariush. Yeah, that'd be a good fight for Oliveira. Abdelaziz will be working on Dariush getting the next title shot. Keep it in-house. Yeah, they probably will be. That's probably the plan, but we'll see what happens there. All right, let's go to the next. Are we good there? You good with the main event?
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
All right, so co-main event, obviously Sterling just destroyed TJ Dillashaw. It looks like Dillashaw had a pre-existing injury with the shoulder, and it popped out several times during the fight. Not good, obviously, to pop out like that. I thought Sterling looked amazing. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Landed 72 significant strikes compared to 8. 5 takedowns, 2 submission attempts, 7 minutes of control in how long was this fight? The fight only lasted 8 minutes and 44 seconds, and he had control for 7 minutes and 6 seconds of that, which is pretty insane. He looked amazing again. He's an outstanding fighter. There's no doubt about it. I think there's another fight that kind of answered questions about people that were kind of on the fence about Aljamain, right? And I can see why people were, Marcel, because obviously he has been kind of, up and down at times, and obviously the Yan fight, I don't think a lot of people thought he won those fights, but he won this fight, man. He looked great. So give me your thoughts on this fight, because again, there was an injury, but he still looked amazing.
Yeah, man, the self-proclaimed GOAT, Dillashaw lost. I picked Dillashaw because I thought he was more complete, but I don't have any sympathy for TJ, man. He came in this fight, he said he was injured, then don't come into this fight, you know what I mean? And don't complain about it afterwards, because you're taking the shine of the win from Aljo, in my opinion, because Aljo looked great. I think he looked amazing. I think he 10-8 him in the first round. He completely destroyed him, man, in the first round. Second round, and TJ, was injured, but then don't fight. It's that simple, and there are no excuses, in my opinion. He didn't look good. Aljo looked great, in my opinion, really good. One of his best performances yet, I think. Defended his belt, after some controversies in the Petr Yan fights. This was a good title defense, I think, and I didn't expect him to do it, but it was impressive, I think, and all glory to Aljo for this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, he looked great. It was one of his best performances, in my opinion. He looked phenomenal in this fight. What's for next for him? I mean, we'll talk about O'Malley in a second here. It doesn't sound like that's the plan. It sounds like maybe Cejudo. I don't know if you saw the post-fight press conference.
I saw, yeah.
Some fan, he wasn't, or not fan, sorry, it's a media member, excuse me. Dan was like, what do you think about that fight? And the media member was just kind of confused, I guess, in a way. He didn't sound too enthused about the fight. For me, go ahead.
Dan, that's really annoying always during those post-fights. He's answering all questions, and when there was a question that he doesn't really want to answer, he's like, can you say that again, please? I don't know. What was this about? And then somebody said, and he's like, can you say it again? He's just thinking in his head what he's going to say, and he just let the people repeat the question 3 times. Give him a hearing whatever device or something, you know what I mean?
I saw that too. Yeah, he couldn't hear much, eh? I don't know what that was.
He always does that, man. But it's always when there are difficult questions, he reacts like that. Yeah. If there are like, oh, Dana, great event. So happy you came here to Abu Dhabi. Can we expect a great event next year again? Blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, oh yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, blah, blah. And then somebody asks him a difficult question. He's like, what did you say? I couldn't hear. Can you repeat that, please? It's always the same, man. Why are people falling for that bullshit?
I mean, you're right. You're not wrong at all about that. That's for sure. All right. Let's go to the next fight here. Let's talk about this one. Actually, we get the comments, guys. I apologize. Let me get the comments. I understand TJ probably needed paycheck. Wish he was schooled the injury. They said he received in April. I agree. I mean, why fight like that? Well, I guess he pulled out. They probably wouldn't have given another one. But Sterling Lucky's champion recent history. Wins belt by DQ. Gets stiffed 2 wins by judges' injury. He looks so dominant. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Glad people are starting to notice Dana does that every time he gets a hard question. Yeah, you guys are definitely onto something there. Let's go to the next one here, Marcel. We got obviously Sean O'Malley defeat. Sorry?
Let's don't.
I know you got some stuff to say about this one. Sean O'Malley defeats Petr Yan, split decision. I'll just let you take the floor. Give me your thoughts on this fight, because I thought it was a very close fight, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
For me, Petr Yan won the first round. I know people saying it was close, but that still doesn't mean that Sean won the first round, Second round, I think Sean started very well. He tagged Yan, but Yan tagged him after that and took him to the ground. I think the second round was the most decisive one for Yan. Third round, people say clear O'Malley. Yeah, I can see you giving it to O'Malley. But I think many people were really influenced by the cut Petr Yan had on his face, and that they were like, oh my God, this is you. People say damage over control. Though that was damage, yeah, the cut was a damage, but that doesn't mean that you're damaging the whole damn round. So initially I scored a 2-1 for Yan. First and second round, third round I could give to O'Malley. I watched it back, obviously, because so many drama about it. Still first round Yan, second round Yan. Third round, 50-50 to me, man. I don't mind if you score it for O'Malley. You can score it for Yan. It could be 30-27. I think 29-28 for O'Malley is more outrageous than 30-27 for Yan. That's what I honestly think, I heard that was a split decision. I was like, oh my God. And then I heard the third judge was Ben Cartledge. And I was like, oh, thank God. He will get it right. And he scored it for O'Malley. I couldn't believe it because Ben Cartledge is one of the best judges out there, in my opinion, alongside Michael Bell. Yeah, what can I say about it? I was really not happy with that, and definitely because it's such a high, it's such an important fight for the division. You know what I mean? And I gotta say as well that I gotta compliment O'Malley on his fight because I think he looked a lot better than many people gave him credit for, including myself. And but the thing is, everybody will talk about this decision because I think 95% of the people don't agree with it. The thing is, you saw on O'Malley's face that he was surprised, and you saw on his post-fight speech that he was surprised. He wasn't bragging or whatever, but the thing is, for O'Malley, I think honestly for O'Malley, it would have been better if he lost the fight by decision and everybody gave him praise for how he looked in this fight, And now he wins a fight that he shouldn't have won, in my opinion, by decision. He looked good, but everybody's talking about how bad the decision is. Besides 5% of the people who watch it, 95% is talking about how bad the decision is, So it's also taking, although he got the win, it's taking shine from O'Malley's performance because everybody's talking about the decision. You know what I mean? And if he lost, it's crazy talk, but if he lost here and he performed the same way, he could have said like, I did very well. I did great. I didn't lost it. I didn't lost this fight. He could have gone on that same narrative that he always does. You know what I mean? But right now it's like he won. It's pretty much he got a guaranteed title shot by Dana. I know Dana backtracked a little bit, but Dana said it. The winner of Yan O'Malley gets title shot. You know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see. I don't think O'Malley is ready for a title shot. I think he can hang with these guys on top. We saw that. Although I still think Yan won, but I got to give him credit. He finally. This is actually the first time I'm thinking like O'Malley. Okay, he's probably legit, and he belongs in the top of the division.
Right. I mean, I thought the fight was really close. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Like, I've leaned Yan Marcel very slightly. Like, I don't think it was as clear as a lot of people think. Respect your opinion, obviously. Definitely see why you thought he won. I mean, I think he probably edged it out. But again, for me, it comes down to that first round. I feel like that first round was really close. Like, again, it was, Yan had some control, and I think, O'Malley had the better shots. And it really does apparently come down to the damage. I mean, we've seen some controversial decisions, though, like where it's the other way around, right? Where the control beats the damage. I think that's the thing that pisses people off is just the inconsistency, Marcel. Like some fights, the damage oversees the control, and then other fights, the control oversees the damage and the scoring criteria, right? For certain judges. I thought Yan would win, but we see upsets all the time in the sport, and there's another one. I mean, when I remember when this fight got announced, we were just like, wow, this is such a weird fight. Like, why would they do this fight? And then, now we see why Sean Shelby wanted to make this fight, Marcel. He saw something here, and it looks like he was right. So it was a great performance, I think, by both guys. It was an amazing fight. We should talk about that. It was fight of the night. It was a great fight. It was the best fight in the card. Very impressive fight by both guys, in my opinion. I really thought I could have gone either way. And the thing is, like, it didn't sound like Dana was convinced really that Sean won either. So it looks like it's going to be, what's it called? Not him for the title next. He mentioned, like I said, Cejudo potentially. I don't know if Henry deserves it coming off such a long layoff, but he is a former double champ. The UFC loves the guy. We know that, Marcel. So
Yeah.
they probably end up doing that fight. That'll probably be the fight. I think Cejudo's back in the pool. He's been there for a while now. He should be ready to go in a few months. I think we'll see that fight next year, Sterling and Cejudo. And honestly, again, we talk about styles make fights, right? It looks like a good matchup, I think, on paper for Henry Cejudo, potentially. A guy that can probably stop the wrestling of Sterling, and then on the feet, he's got good boxing. Arguably, the better striking. Definitely, he's got, I think, more power than Aljamain Sterling too, right? So it'll be an interesting fight if that happens, which it does sound like Dana White was interested in that fight. Dana, we don't make fights the night of the fight. Yeah, he loves saying that. He has no idea, but can't wait to see him fight. I mean, he's supposed to fight Font, right? I don't think that fight's going to happen. All right, let's go to the next fight here, Marcel. We have Beneil Dariush defeating Mateusz Gamrot in another upset. And I thought he looked great, Marcel. I got to be honest with you. I didn't expect this from Beneil after such a long layoff with that injury. I didn't expect him to look this good, but I thought he looked great. Two judges had 30-27. I thought Gamrot won the first, ever so slightly. I thought he barely won it. And then obviously second and third, Dariush won. It was a huge win for Dariush. I think it's 9 straight wins, if I'm not mistaken, or 8 straight wins. Really, bro, he should be fighting for the belt next. Let's be honest. He's got 8 straight wins, and he just beat Mateusz Gamrot, who we're all hyping this guy up after that fight with Arman, right? And after his other wins. He's the first guy to really clearly beat Gamrot because, again, Kutat Taladze, I don't think he won that fight. I thought Gamrot won that fight, This fight was clear who won. Man, Dariush looked good. Give me your thoughts because I didn't expect him to look this good after such a long layoff.
This is the best performance of Beneil Dariush's UFC career, in my opinion, and the biggest win. And people will say it's Ferguson, and maybe name value, yes, but if you look right now, this is a huge win, in my opinion. I would have bet the house on Gamrot. You know what I mean? And not because I think Dariush sucks or whatever, but I think Gamrot was that good. And Dariush, he neutralized him pretty much. He was better. He neutralized the ground game, which Dariush normally thrives in. And he was stand up better. He even dropped him in the third round. Yeah, amazing performance, and he deserves to fight for the title, actually, in my opinion, But yeah, he's like one guy said on Twitter, he's probably the new Tony Ferguson. You know what I mean? And with that, I mean close to a title, not getting a title shot anytime soon, probably because there are other people in front of him. And with other people, I mean the winner of Poirier against Chandler, obviously. And Volkanovski now, so you probably won't get it, but I think he deserves it,
Yeah, no, for sure. That's what it sounds like. Cejudo's eligible in 3 weeks. They're going to do that fight. Should they give Henry a warm up first? Doesn't sound like it. It's not like they're just going to throw him in the fire. That's what he wants to. I see Dariush fighting for the belts of Volk. I kind of agree, but it sounds like I didn't even know this Volk thing was that serious. I knew he was the backup fighter, but I didn't think it would be they would be doing this fight so fast. But it just sounds like UFC really likes this fight. They just really seem to like this fight. They brought him in the cage. I mean, when they bring them in the octagon and do that face off, it seems like that's a fight to make. Yeah, that Arman fight. Yeah, that was a close fight. Cancellation of Makhachev Dariush were perfectly for Abdelaziz. Islam got Green, Beneil got Gamrot. Now they have the same fight, which would be for title money. That's true, actually. That's a good point, Glenn. They were supposed to fight each other. Was it earlier this year? I want to say.
Yeah,
I don't think it was so long ago, but it was earlier this year, right? Yeah.
Or February, somewhere there.
All right, let's go to the first fight. Manon Fiorot defeats Katlyn Chookagian by decision. I mean, we knew this fight was going to distance. Close fight. It was 1-1 heading to the third, and Fiorot won the third round, and she won the fight. So good for her. Obviously, the biggest win of her career over the number 1 contender in the division. It's a big win, Marcel. It's really hard to beat Katlyn Chookagian. She beat her fairly and squarely 2-1. What do you think the title shot's next? Would you rather see Santos get the rematch, or do you want to see Valentina against Manon?
This fight showed me that Manon Fiorot will get trashed by Valentina Shevchenko. You know, I think she won the fight. She won the second round and the third round. And the third round, she pretty much won because of a takedown, I think, because it was that close in the third round, I think. Yeah, it's a good win for her, don't get me wrong. But I think that we should see Valentina against Tyler too. And we should see Manon Fiorot fighting Alexa Grasso. Because the Alexa Grasso Viviane Araújo fight, like what was that, a week or 2 weeks ago, it was also not like a huge difference. I think Grasso clearly won, but it wasn't like an amazing performance. And this as well. This was a 3-rounder. Fiorot, she won. She won 2 of the 3 rounds, in my opinion. Some people had the 3 out of 3 rounds, but
I think the first.
yeah,
Kayla won the first, right? Was it?
yeah, I gave Caitlin the first as well. Some people gave
Yeah.
Fiorot 1, 2, and 3, but I gave her Caitlin the first. But I mean, that said, I think if you look at it, I think Grasso's performance against Araújo was better than Fiorot's performance against Chookagian. But she took out the number 1 contender. So if they give it to Fiorot, I have no problem with it. But I think we should do Shevchenko Tyla too, and we should do Fiorot against Alexa Grasso. And they put it on the same card.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good to me. Someone didn't know. Big $250 bet. Who they bet on? Was it Caitlin they bet on, or the fight ends inside the distance? What was it, Glenn? I didn't see that.
Why would you bet 250K on Caitlin Chookagian? I mean,
oh, he did. That's crazy.
I mean, she barely wins decisions, so you can't always be on the wrong side. I know a friend of mine always say like that Texas and Chookagian by decision, but still, I don't know. You're freezing by me. I don't know if any other people see Adam freezing. If it's just me, let us know in the comments.
It is freezing. I apologize, guys. I can still hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you as well. Can you hear me now? Yeah, Brooke, I can hear you.
I apologize, guys, for that. Oh, yeah. The bar is low right now. Sorry about that. If it happens, Marcel, just keep talking, okay?
Okay.
You got me? All right.
Yeah, no problem.
Bilal Muhammad, Sean Brady. I didn't expect this. Bilal Muhammad just destroys Sean Brady. Wow. Second round knockout. Give me your thoughts on this one, man.
Yeah, man. I also didn't expect that at all. This is one that for me went down in picks really badly. This card. Yeah, I think we should let Bilal Muhammad only fight in Abu Dhabi. You know what I mean? His last finish he got there, and now again. I mean, was a good performance. Although I thought Brady did pretty well in the first round, wasn't bad. I think I still scored a Brady 10-9 first round, but Bilal completely took over. Yeah. Man, really looked good. Was pressuring the whole damn time. Brady couldn't keep the same pace and was kind of overwhelmed. Couldn't get him to the ground where Brady's obviously his game is at, but also Bilal. But Bilal was better striking. Yeah, very good win for Bilal, man. I mean, this was a very tricky fight for him to take against Sean Brady, who has looked good in the UFC so far. And first loss for Brady. Looking forward what's next for Bilal, man. I mean, a lot of options, I think, in the top of the welterweight division.
I mean, this is a big win for him, dude. Like, not only did he win, guys, but he knocked him out. Like, that's really impressive. I didn't expect this to happen like this. Very, very impressive. Huge win for Bilal. He called out, he called out Leon and he called out Chimaev. Dana said this week he wants to do Chimaev against Colby Covington, but I kind of want to see Chimaev against Bilal after this performance, personally. Covington's great too, don't get me wrong, but I just think it'd be an interesting fight. And I think Bilal needs one more win for title shot, but man, like, let's give the guy some credit. 4 straight wins. He's won 8 of his, no contest. He's undefeated over his last 9 fights. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And again, at first he wasn't beating like good fighters, and now he's beating, top 10 guys. Luque, Thompson, Brady, Maia. Those are good wins, Good win for him, man. I wasn't a believer, but the striking looked much better in this fight, obviously, and the pressure, very impressive. And Brady had nothing for him. It was kind of crazy. Guys. Can you still hear me, Marcel? You're good?
Yeah, definitely hear you.
Perfect, good. You guys think that TD by Manon got her the win? I think so, because I think, honestly, it was that close in the feet, and then that takedown probably got her for her. She has to expose Brady out in those hands. Yeah, his striking's not that great. Cody Sapchich and Jeff Deal picked Bilal. Those are good picks for those guys.
Yeah,
I
but
agree with this. Bilal definitely needs to. You have to pressure him. Go ahead.
I mean, Jeff Neal picking Bilal, I don't put too much value into that because
Because he beat him, right?
yeah, of course, you
They
always
always pick them if they beat someone. I agree with
yeah.
that. I agree with. But Cody's definitely a good veteran. That's a good pick by him. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Kyle Barallo defeats Mahmoud Muradov. Not the most exciting fight, but Barallo got the win. I had a 29-28. I thought the second round, I think it was ahead for Muradov, but not the best fight. Let's be honest here. But Barallo again gets the win. Marcel, 3 straight wins in the UFC. I mean, he started fighting in the UFC earlier this year. 3 straight wins. That's impressive, man. He's definitely a guy that can be a top 15 guy. The problem with him is like not seeing like a lot of finishing ability from him. I just see him as a guy that's content to win fights, which is fine because the goal of the sport is to win fights, right? Like to win more fight, to win the and not to lose. So I get it, but I just think like if he wants to really make if he really wants to make Marcel like a title run or a top 15 run, even get some hype behind him, I think he needs to start finishing guys. Muradov's a tough dude, but I do think you can finish him. So, anyways, it was a pretty solid performance, but nothing like blew me away either. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I actually was like Borrello did okay, but wasn't like amazing. I expected a little bit more from him. But yeah, I mean, we pretty much expected him to be better on the ground than Muradov, although Muradov didn't do that bad at all, in my opinion. Not a very memorable fight, just like last Barallo's fight against Petrosian, also not a very memorable fight. But the dude is good, you got to give it to him. He is good. And I think that he needs to get a real challenge, a guy who really makes him go that full 100%. You know what I mean? Where he can't cut corners and be like, okay, I'm just sitting here, I'm doing this, and I'm getting the decision. He pretty much. I got the same feeling with him a little bit sometimes that I had with Zabit. You know what I mean? It's like he needs to get a real challenge to get a real to put the best game out of him. And right now I have the feeling he doesn't feel challenged. But
That's possible
maybe
too. That's a good point. Maybe that's what's going on here. Barallo versus Hernandez. That'd be a good fight. Makes sense. I don't know if Fluffy's got a fight booked or no. I can't remember. I don't think he does, right? Or does he?
Yeah, he does actually. I think. Let me check.
Yeah, he might have one actually booked. Who's he
Let me
fighting
check.
again?
I still think this year as well. December somewhere. Let me see. And Anthony Hernandez. And why the hell I can't find you? Can you check topology? I'm just checking my schedule.
Yeah, for sure. I think he does have a fight book. We should just check that, like you said.
Yeah, maybe I'm off.
Let me check.
I always.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Slow to load. 1 sec. I know, right? No, nothing.
Yeah, I use Alexander Hernandez against Billy Carantillo. That's a shitty thing with those guys who have almost the same name,
For sure. Kyle Hadman, hey Jason, what's up? He full mount, all 3 rounds, lost position, he's overrated. I mean, it's hard to disagree with it because the guy should be finishing these fights. He's getting these guys in, like you said, dominant positions. Guys like he can finish these fights, and he's just not doing it. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Nikita Krylov against Wilkin. It was a pretty crazy fight. The first round, anyways, was insane, and then after that, Uzdemir got tired, and Krylov just took over with the grappling. It's kind of how I expected the fight to go a little bit. I thought someone would get finished in it, but either way, Krylov, another win for him. Huge win for him, Marcel. Just one of the more underrated guys in the division. He's been around for a long time, and he's looked good, man, lately. Obviously, 2 straight wins now. I think it's a big win for him, and I haven't really looked at who would be next, but I mean, there's got to be a lot of options for him, in that top 10. So, any thoughts?
Can I be honest with you, Adam? I mean, I think if he fights the higher rank guys, he's in trouble. You know what I mean? Because in the first round, he's too wild. Way too wild. And Uzdemir caught him a couple of times, but he kept it. He recovered from it, and Uzdemir was gassed later, and Krylov took him to the ground. Pretty much like we both expected. I think. So yeah, good. But I actually like the Krylov Hill fight that 8 Loco brings up there. But yeah,
It'd be a fun fight. I mean, it would be a good one, right? And Krylov would get tested, or Krylov would get tested on the ground a little bit, maybe. He could fight. I mean, obviously I think he's still waiting, right? He doesn't have a fight book, so that'd be a good fight, guys. All right, let's go to the next one here. Abubakar Nurmagomedov defeats. All right, so John Ant called him Gadri, Omar Gadriev. I mean, I don't see an R in there, but I guess that's how you pronounce it.
No, I don't think so. He also calls Manon Fio.
I'm just confused because the other commentators were saying Gadziev. That's what Felder was saying. That's what I thought it says, but maybe that's an R sound in Russian. I don't know.
No, you know what the thing is, man. They come with each other before the fights. They talk with each fighters, right? And they ask them how to pronounce your name. And I'm sure with Fioro, for example, they ask her how you pronounce it. She's like Manon Fioro, Manon Fioro. She said it in French, you know. And they're like, oh, she said Fio. No, she said Fioro, but she's like she's French, so she has a French accent. And it's like with Gadziev, she's like Gadziomar Gadziev, you know. And that's like, oh, it's an R. No, there's no R. So it's like, but the thing is, I love John Anik. I think he's amazing. You know, he's one of the best. If he's the best, you know, in my opinion. But he's really, really stubborn with his names. You know, even when people show him, like it's not like that. He's still like Verna Janji Joba. Also another one. I mean, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no, for sure. Armored Trojan defeats AJ Dobson. Good performance, but AJ Dobson just terrible game plan. Like, don't shoot for takedowns until like 10 seconds left. Makes no sense, man. Go ahead.
I mean, I think he could have won this fight, dude. If he fought different, you know. I mean, Armin was like, "Oh, amazing! We keep it standing here. Awesome, you know. I can win this." And I was like, "What the hell?" I had to laugh about Mark Coleman in between the rounds. He's like, "He's tired. You should have won this round. Go for it." I love Mark Coleman. He's funny, man. He's amazing. He's a legend. So, yeah, I think Dobson could have done a lot more. You know, I could have fought smarter. Not more, but he could have fought smarter. And I think if he fought smarter, he would have won the fight. You know, but he didn't. So shout out to Armin Petrosian. You know, good win, solid win, kept it standing, picked the shots. Good win for him.
Yeah, it was. And then we had Muhammad Makhachev defeats Malcolm Gordon. Third round submission, like really late. It looked like a decision was going to happen. Not his best performance, in my opinion. Like Malcolm Gordon did some good things in this fight with like reversing position and stuff, but he got the win in the end, Marcel. So good for him. And then just quickly, Carol Rosa defeats Lena Lansford by majority decision. Close fight. I think that knockdown won him that first round. Personally, I thought it was a draw. I would have scored it a draw, but I can't argue with Rosa winning a majority either. Because it does come down to what you favor, the knockdown versus control. But again, that's what I have the problem with, right? In this fight, you had that happen, and then with O'Malley Yan, the damage was favored over the control, right? And then this fight was the other way. That's the thing I think bothers a lot of us. Also, the referee in this fight, he took a point in the second round for an illegal knee, and then there was another fight with an illegal knee. Which fight was it again? I can't remember.
Bubakar against Gatsi.
Yeah, that was an illegal knee too. I think you got to take a point in both instances. You know, I've seen a lot of people say, well, it's the what's the word, like the extent of the damage. Yeah, for sure. But for me, Marcel, like it's in the rules. You can't knee someone in the head. So to me, I would have taken a point from both fighters personally. Any thoughts on these last two fights?
Yeah, I agree with you, by the way. But honestly, I think we should, like Keith Chillen said on Twitter, can we stop? Can we change the rule that we can do knees to a down opponent? You know, what I would have loved to see it. Yeah, Makhachev. I think Makhachev looked good in the first round. Didn't look that. He also won the second round, I think, but the end of the second round, he almost got finished there, man. Third round, I think Gordon looked good again, and then Makhachev did well again. So the thing is, like many people are judging Makhachev on this performance, like. Yeah, wasn't that great? Dude is still young, guys. I mean, and he got the win. He finished him. So good for him. I don't know what. Listen, guys. DC Felder, that's why you guys need to follow me on Twitter. I broke Brandon Royval fighting Amir Albazi, 5 or 6 hours before the event start. And you guys are talking about Makhachev maybe fighting Royval. It's not happening. That's why you need to follow me. I'm just kidding. But
you gotta follow Marcel anyway.
Just kidding.
I think we all agree with you. You gotta follow you, my friend, for sure.
Yeah, but
you got a must follow.
I think they should match Makhachev with a guy like Tim Elliott. I think that's a beautiful matchup, for example. And the last fight, Lena Landsberg against Cara Rosa. Yeah, it's like what I told you, man, before. It's like that 50-minute bathroom break before the event starts. I think Landsberg started well, knocked her down. But after that, Rosa controlled pretty much on the ground, and stupid illegal shot from Rosa. That knee. And I knew people were like, "Oh, Landsberg maybe gotta go for a DQ here." I knew she would continue. She fought Chris Cyborg. She's not gonna give up. We know Landsberg. She's tough.
Yep.
So she pulled through, and I think you could have got that the draw. Could have been a draw. Could have been a decision win for Rosa, but yeah, okay. Not a great fight, but also not the worst fight we saw.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's get some comments, guys. Let's see here. Oh, Tukugov. Yeah, he pulled out that fight with Lucas Almeida. That sucked, right? I want to see that fight, man.
I woke up at 7 a.m. in the morning on Friday. That's early for me. I never wake up that early. And I was like, this card, I'm missing a fight. I was like, oh no, Almeida Tukugov is off. And they say Tukugov had weight cut issues. And I was like, oh no, not again.
Right.
And just sucks. Also with Mustafayev Nishikawa being off, we lost 2 fights in 5 weeks. So yeah.
That fight was going to be good too. That's too bad we lost those 2 fights. I feel bad for Mustafayev. Like, that's the second time he's had a fight canceled in Abu Dhabi in like the last year. So that really sucks for him. I agree with John in this comment. The judging is inconsistent. After that recent judging seminar was announced that damage is greater than control, you have judges scoring both ways still. Completely agreed, right? That's what we talk about. It's just so inconsistent. That's what I hate when people are like, this is the only way you can score that fight. It's like, yeah, but if you had another judge, they might score it the other way. It's really close fights,
There's actually no real solution for this issue, for example, ACA and Glory do try with 5 judges, and you get even more split decisions. You have one who's tried to score per fight in this total. It doesn't make sense either, because if you win like 40 minutes of the fight and you get knocked down twice in the last minute, you lose the fight pretty much. So it's just stupid, I'm actually for. I think Gilbert Ivel always said this on our podcast. He's always like, we should win or we should fight. I know it's not going to happen because of the ladder commissions, but we should fight till there is a finish, And if they want to do only 3 rounds, then it's automatically a draw after 3 rounds,
That'd be fun. Fight to the death.
Yeah, just that somebody gives up, you know what I mean? But I know that's never going to happen, because you got these tough guys who can go for 1.5 hours, for example, and athletic commissions won't allow it, which obviously makes sense. It's a sport, right now, and it's regulations and rules, which is a good thing. But you got to figure something out, man, with these judges, because it's getting ridiculous now and then, And if 90% of the 95% of the people see a certain decision and 5% see different, you can't keep that same narrative. You know what I mean? It's like pretty much like what the famous television host always says here in the Netherlands. If a whole crowd chants "your mom is a whore," there's probably a certain quality of knowledge into that. It's just kidding, but that was just for fun, guys. I'm not serious, but. There should be something they should have done something with it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's getting crazy, pretty much every fucking event we're talking about bad decision. And let's be honest, even if a fighter wins 3 rounds and it's 30-27 and one judge scores a 29-28, it bothers me,
Yeah.
So, and if it's a close fight, I understand, but we really need to do something about it,
Yeah, no, I agree with that. All right, let's get some more comments. What's the deal with the Hasbulla gimmick? Bored of it. Little shit gets more pro than most fighters. That's so fucking funny. Is he going to be part of the slap fighting thing? That's what I've heard. Is that correct? Or?
I don't know. I know the whole crew at always like from the whole crew at Eurosport over here who does broadcasting. I think only myself and another guy have no problem with it. All the others hate it. They can't stand it. And I always send them pictures in our group app about it just to be annoying.
Is he actually on the UFC roster?
No, he's just like they gave him a contract, but not to fight, but more for promotion stuff and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So like today, like sitting cage side, like yesterday, interacting with the fighters. A lot of fighters who also like it. There's also some fighters who don't. I saw, for example, Zach Paul guy on Twitter. He's like, if somebody slaps me in the face, I slap him back, for example. And let's be honest, kid is 20, 19 or 20. So if somebody slaps him in the face, too bad if they slap you.
He's only 19 or 20 years old, really?
Yeah.
Jesus. I thought he was older than that. Man, that's crazy. All right, let's get some more comments, guys. He didn't take a point talking about the ref because it was Nurmagomedov and the ref didn't want the crowd to hit him. Maybe, yeah. Like what I've said was, and what I've been reading was, the judge is there to assess how much damage is done with the foul. But to me, again, and they talk about in the broadcast too. As Mark Ratner always says, the first warning's in the back.
Yeah.
The first warning's when you read the fucking rule book. Like, we all know the rules. It kind of blows my mind how many times guys are allowed to get away with illegal moves in fights, honestly, Marcel. Like we know the rules, guys, So, anyways, go ahead.
Like Mike Hack from MMA Fighting always says, like, why wouldn't you cheat? Why not? You always come away with it the first time, probably. You
usually get like a few nut shots. You usually get a few eye pokes before they actually even warn you. Cage grabs. It's and then there's fights where the first instant they'll take a point.
I think you saw also Nurmagomedov and O'Malley having multiple cage grabs. Nobody said anything about it.
No.
I was like, okay, cool. I'm not cool, but I like whatever. If you don't say anything about it, and you can't blame the fighters, to do it because they know they don't get punished for it. So yeah.
No, you're right. A couple more comments here. Let's see. Tajir versus Makhachev. Is Tajir fighting Tim Elliott, or is that fight not happening? I don't know why I thought that was the fight. I don't know. They've been talking about that for like forever. Don't you think? How many times a day is Makhachev train? I mean, he probably trains all day.
I don't know if Tajir has a match.
Yeah, Rustem Habilov was there too. Actually, he was there in one of the guys' corners.
Tajir is fighting Nate Maness on November 5th.
That's the fight. That's a great fight. Get rid of the 10-point and must boxing style judging. Judge fights the entirety. I'm not against it, really, like pride style judging. I guess you're saying, like, judge the fight as a whole. The problem is, like, often the judges will forget what happened early in the fight.
Yeah.
And put more weight to the later rounds. I think, isn't one championship like that? I think they judge.
I can give you a good example, man. You know Gustavo Ballard, that really short guy. We also fought in Titan. I think the Cuban guy.
I remember you told me about him. Yeah, he's like 4'8" or something.
He was winning clearly a fight and won, and then in the last 45 seconds, he gets taken down, and the guy ground and pounds, but he didn't finish. And he gives that guy the win. Just stupid, He got robbed twice in his first 3 fights and won. It's super stupid,
Yeah.
So I'm not really into that. And the thing for me is with that scoring and one, right now you got 3 points to score. You got the first round, the second round, the third round. If you score everything in its whole, you as a judge, you have way more influence in the fight, in my opinion, because you can judge what you think is more important in the fight than what's actually important, in my opinion. Because if you score a fight in its whole, you always can find a reason to give a fight to a certain fighter. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. I don't know, maybe people did think different, but that's how I look at it.
That's fair. I kind of agree with that too. Let's get some more comments, guys. Unfair comment about Dana. He knows he has a known hearing condition, and questions were asked with heavy accents. Go watch it, and you'll agree. Dana's a pro answering questions. Yeah, I mean, Marcel was the one who said it. I'll say that. It just sounded like he wasn't able to hear anything, but we do know he does have a hearing issue, though, so that's true. Hasbulla probably brings more views than most fighters. That's probably true, although I don't care about him personally, Marcel. I'm the same as you. You think a self-made billionaire entrepreneur of his stature needs to stall for time answering these more questions non-MMA press? Come on, guys. Again, it wasn't me, it was Marcel, but since this is our podcast, I'll take it, David. Morale fight, they were fingers and eyes. Yeah, he did it. He did a lot of. They really should have taken a point in that fight, I think. Right? Was it Muradov or I can't remember who it was, but
it was Abubakar Nurmagomedov against Gachi Magachi.
It was like eyes in the fingers. Like, I do know guys are like they press against your face like that, but you're not supposed to obviously go like this, right? It's crazy.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
They should have taken a point, honestly. When you get your 50s, your hair isn't that great. I know you're like 50, right, True Shot? I believe you are, if I'm not mistaken. Do you guys know Brute Buster always looks at the guy who does not win when announcing a split and make it more surprise? That's hilarious, Bircha. I've read something and I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but I heard that the person the buffer kind of shades toward where he stands behind is the one that wins the fight. So I kind of like, that's the thing, right? Like a lot of people say, let's get open scoring. Like, but Marcel, I think it's fun in a way to have the decision like unknown. That's part of the fun about the sport too, So I don't know. We're not talking about open scoring. We're not advocates of it in this podcast, but I know a lot of people like it. But for me, it's like that's exciting to hear like who's going to win the decision. Like when Bruce does it, in my opinion. Like I think there's something to that. In this case, this decision was very controversial. But I'm saying in general, though, like I don't have a problem with, the way that we do the decisions right now as far as not having open scoring. I'm not really a fan of it. Yeah, I know. Dana's he does have a hearing problem. You're right, David. 100% right. It was some weird questions too, right? At the presser, some of the questions weren't great. They weren't like full-time MMA people that were asking them and stuff like that. And the update in Guram, I don't have anything. All right. Anything else you want to talk about from this card? Was there anything else we missed?
No, not really.
You're good. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're going to end this podcast, guys. We're going to start another one in a second here. We're going to break down UFC Vegas 63. Marcel, just plug your stuff. We'll get out of here, okay?
Big Marcel 24 on Twitter and Instagram, Eurosport.nl Mixed Martial Arts section.
Guys can follow me on Twitter at MMAOB podcast, MMAOBspeaker.com. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it, guys. I'm also at bookies.com. I'm at MyMMAnews.com. We're going to start another podcast here in a second, but just in case you guys don't hear that one, just wanted to say again, next week will be the same time, 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. We're going to be recapping UFC Vegas 63 and then previewing UFC Vegas 64, which is they just announced last night Marina Rodriguez and Amanda Lemos. And I know, Marcel, you're not too thrilled about that being a main event, but we'll talk about that fight next week. We're going to say
it's not a bad fight, but I mean,
not bad, but I mean, main event, like it doesn't really get me excited either. Although they're both good fighters. Demir and Islam would be a great fight, but Demir's got to win a few more. Watch, you'll see a loud press conference. No, I agree with you, David. I agree. I think Marcel was a little bit critical, to be honest with you, but that's his opinion, and we're all here to have our own different opinions, so that's totally fair. All right, Marcel, let's start the next one up. I'm going to send you the link in a sec, guys. So join us there for the UFC Vegas 63 preview, guys. In a second here, just stay tuned to the channel. Talk to you soon. Bye.